I don't, right. Okay, folks, what we're going to do now is look at the phonics lessons, phonics for reading and phonics for spelling. This is the very first lesson, closed syllables. That's the first unit, module 1, lesson 1. And in lesson 1, we introduce the student to the vowel sound, and we have the student read consonant vowel syllables and then vowel consonant syllables. And then we ask the student to write those syllables. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just show you what I would do to introduce the sound. Okay, so with no preamble and no pretense that you are children. All right. Ah. 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 So you draw it, you say it, and what you want is your students to also say it. Okay. So which one of you wants to be my student here? Melissa, thank you. Okay, Melissa, I'm going to introduce you to the sound we're going to focus on today and for quite a long time. Okay. You may have seen this before, but this is the sound I want you to use. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, you please say ah.
Ah.
Okay, I'd like you to open your mouth wider and tighter.
Ah.
Ah, very good. Again.
Ah.
Okay, again.
Ah.
Terrific. Now what I'd like you to do, Melissa, let's practice writing this in the air, please. So go up at the top here, draw a half circle around, come up and down. Ah.
Ah.
Do it again, please. Ah.
Ah.
Now let's make it smaller, please. Ah.
Ah.
And even smaller. Ah.
Ah.
How small can you go? Ah.
Ah.
Perfect. That's your new sound. Ah. And now I'm going to ask you to read some syllables, and all of the syllables have this sound ah in them. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to show you my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
You see that we've got syllables here?
Mm-hmm.
All righty. I'm going to make that larger for you. And then I'm going to ask you to read them going across. Can you do that, please?
Ba. Ka. Da. Fa. Ga. Ha. Ja. La. Ma. Na. Pa. Ra.
You're here.
Sa. Ta. Va. Wa. Ya. Za.
Terrific. So this time what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to read going down. And I'd like to see, Melissa, if you can make those a little bit faster, like this. Ga, ha, ja, like that. Okay, so that you don't drag the sound out so much. So it's not so much ba, it's ba. Can you try that?
Ba.
Perfect. And can you go down?
Ba. Fa. Ja. Ka. Ga. La. Da. Ha. Ma.
That was terrific. Wow, there's very often, folks, they can do it if you only ask them to. Okay, and can you read the other 3 columns, please?
Na. Sa. Wa. Pa. Ta. Ya. Ra. Ba. Za.
Terrific. All righty. And now we're going to go down and read these ones. Can you read these ones going across, please?
Ab. Ak. Af. Ag. Al. Ap. Av.
Beautiful. What was this one right here?
Al.
Oh, very good. All right, that was great reading. Now what I'd like you to do, please, is I would like you to take out your notebook, okay? Did your mom and dad get you a notebook? Don't be
Yes.
surprised, folks, if mom and dad didn't get the notebook that you asked for. And so if they can't find a notebook, see if they can find a piece of lined paper. And don't be surprised if this is the kind of thing that they come with, okay? If that would be something you would put in shift report, did not have materials, okay? So that we can call about it. But so Melissa, have you got have you got your notebook?
Yep.
Okay, so Melissa, what I'd like you to do is I would like you to write get a clean page, please, the first page in your book.
Okay.
And folks, I know it seems ridiculous to stipulate that, but I used to have a student who would open her book randomly from day to day. And she could never find the work that she had done previously because who knew where it might be. Okay, so it's sometimes important to stipulate things like first page, or the first blank page, anything like that. Apparently Melissa's mommy didn't get her prepared for this lesson. So. There you go. There you go. Okay. Okay, so what we want you to do, please, is to write the date at the top of your page. Now, not all students, folks, know how to do that, and it can be important for you to help them do that. So I think that I'm not sure how to do this. I'm a bit out of my league here. I'm going to stop sharing for a minute, and then I'm going to go and share again, but this time I'm going to share my whiteboard, Melissa, okay? So we can do this together. Melissa, I don't know if you know the date, but let me write the date for you, okay? Let me write the date for you. And can you please put the date on the top right line? So you'll have a line on your page. Here. Oh, that wasn't well done. That wasn't well done. Sorry, a line on your, that still wasn't well done. The problem here, folks, is that I did not call up the sheet that I have. And I don't know where it is right now, that has this practice paper on it. I just simply forgot. Put it away and forgot. So here, you're going to write your date here. And that's supposed to be a line. What's the date? There you go. Okay. So once you do that, Melissa, do you see the margin on your page? Does your page have a margin, a line down the side?
Mhm.
And you've got lines across like that?
Yeah. Okay.
So what I'd like you to do, Melissa, is I'd like you to write number 1 in the margin, close to the top. Then I want you to skip a space and write 2. And skip a space and write 3. And I'm going to go all the way down to 10. And then when you're done 10, in the middle of the page, we're going to pretend there's another margin line, and we're going to write 11 across from number 1, 12 across from number 2, 13 across from number 3. And what do you think we're going to write across from number 4?
14.
You betcha. And you're going to go all the way down after that. Okay, so write the numbers 1 to 20. Okay. So now, because we're dictating, the student can't see our screen anymore, right? So remember what I said was it was important to have the student repeat the target when you do spelling. So Melissa, we're going to write these syllables now. I'm going to say the syllable and I want you to repeat it. And then I want you to spell the word. Spell it, okay? So what are you going to do after I say the syllable?
I'll repeat it and I'll spell the word.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay. So number 1, ba.
Ba. But
Number 2, ma.
ma. Ma.
Number 3, va.
Va. Va.
You don't have to tell me how you spelled it if you don't want to. Number 4, ap.
Ap. Ap.
Number 5, ca.
Ka. Ka.
Okay, cool. All righty. So let's pretend we've done to 20. Okay. Okay, Melissa. So now let's make sure that you and I have the same syllables. Can you please read your list of syllables from 1 to 20? Start with number 1. What did you write?
Ba.
Number 2.
Ma.
Okay, you can keep going. Go ahead.
Ka.
Was number 3 ca? Okay, what did you write for number 3?
I didn't really write it. I just repeated.
Oh, okay. 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 So the student would read back. Number 1 is ba. Number 2 is ma. Number 3 is va. Number 4 is ap. And number 5 is ca. That's as far as we got. Okay. So what would we do? Let's talk about this first. What's the value of having the student read that instead of the teacher read that?
He has to go through his memory to, instead of just repeating without really thinking about it.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
To see if they understand the difference between consonant, vowel, vowel, and consonant.
No, we're talking specifically about, typically a teacher will give a spelling test. The teacher gives the spelling test and then the teacher repeats the words to make sure the kids didn't miss any, right?
Mhm.
But in this case, I didn't repeat the words. I asked my student to repeat them. Why would I ask the student to do that instead of doing it myself?
So they can hear the sounds and you want them to reinforce the sounds, but they may have written for number 1, for example, DA instead of BA, maybe?
Maybe they might not notice that. One of the values of having them repeat it is because you keep them focused. If I repeat them, child's done the work. They've got no interest in me reviewing this, so they're no longer focused. If they repeat them, they're practicing reading and they're focused. It's just pedagogy, that's all. All right. Now, what would I do if for number 5, the student had written KA instead of CA? Is that
Make a
okay or
note.
not okay?
It's
The sound.
That's right, it's the sound.
it's
That's
okay.
right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a word.
No.
It's a syllable. Nobody says, right? Absolutely. What would I do if the child had written a capital B for ba instead of a lowercase b for ba?
I think they're still correct because the sound, whether it's upper or lower, makes the same sound.
Absolutely. And we haven't talked about capitalization rules yet, right? Okay. Now, let's say for number 4, let's say that Melissa had written pa instead of ap. So she reads back to me ba, ma, va, and then she reads pa. What I would say to her is, I said app. Can you look at what you wrote? I said app. Can you say app, Melissa?
Ah.
Okay, so look at what you wrote for number 4. Do you need to change anything? And then she would or she would not change it. But I give her an opportunity to reconsider those sounds, because at every instance, I'm trying to train her to hear those sounds and think about the order, right? So if she makes a mistake, but I give her a chance to reorder that, that's far more powerful pedagogically than me just saying, oh, she got that wrong.
I had two questions.
Okay.
When you're asking the kid, or when you're asking me to spell it,
Yeah.
How will the kid know in advance that it has to be just like in the beginning when we did the decoding test? How will they know that this is how we have to spell it?
Oh, this is what we're finding out. This is what we're finding out, right? Is that they do spelling during the assessment. And so we have some sense of what they can do and can't do. So we know what they can do with words. Do they know the spelling of any words? But this helps us find out if they can organize the sounds. Okay. So if they can't organize these sounds and if every pa was written ap and every ma was written am, then we've got some remedial work to go in, and we would do that with the movable alphabet, and we would train you what to do at that time. But there's a basic assumption that they can do this. There may be errors, but there aren't typically so many errors that you can't move on. But if they are, put it in the shift report and say, I need some support here.
Okay.
But you want, oh, sorry.
And also, I just wanted to know when they are spelling it, do they show you the sheet? So, because how do you check whether they are writing with a C or with a K?
Because I would get them to show it to me. Yeah, afterwards. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I would get them to show it to me. But the important thing for me first, before I get them to show it to me, is to give them an opportunity, whether it is a syllable, a word, a phrase, to correct their own work, to see the mistake, right? For them, for their eyes and their brains to get better at seeing the mistake than mine, or else my brain gets better, but theirs doesn't, right? So that's why they reread it, and then we say, this is what I said. Do you need to correct anything? And let them be analytical about it, okay? Once that's done, then I would say, can you please show me what you wrote? And then okay. Now, when it's really simple like this and it's syllables, then typically I can see at a glance, because syllables aren't very complex, okay? But when it's the words and I have to, look at the words, did you capitalize, did you not capitalize, and all of that, then the easiest thing to do is to ask the parents to take a picture of what's in the notebook.
Okay.
Okay. And most parents are compliant. Not all parents are compliant, and you'll learn that, right? And it becomes an ongoing issue. When it's an ongoing issue, you just let us know. I can never get the spelling from the parents. I have no idea how he's doing on spelling, right? Because I can never see the work. Okay. Rosemary, did you have something?
I think you explained it after I thought of the idea, but obviously in any program, I think one of the goals is for self-correction, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They get better. Okay, what I'd like to do now, folks, is I'd like to do the same thing, but I'd like one of you to be a student who finds decoding a little bit challenging. Who wants to be the student here?
You can try that.
Okay, all righty. So I'm not going to go back to the introducing the sound. I'm just going to focus on the decoding itself. Okay, so let me get in there and share my screen, right? Okay, can you see that, Mario?
Yes.
Okay, so now you're going to be a student who does not find decoding easy. Let's establish that you basically know the sound ah. Okay, but decoding is not easy for you. Okay. So, Mario, would you please read these syllables going across the page?
Sa. Sa. D. Da.
Okay, good start. Let's go back to this one right here. What did you say for that one?
The ba,
That's terrific. Ba. Let's say it together again. Ba.
ba,
Perfect. And then I heard you say sa here, and you know you're right. That letter can make a s sound, but when there's an a after it, then it makes a k sound. So if this is making a k sound, how would we read that syllable?
ka,
Say it
ka,
again, please.
ka,
That's perfect. Very good. You're doing well. And what's this one?
da,
Let's get that a little bit bigger. Try to remember that is a very big mouth sound. And when you say it, you should get a little bit tight in here. So let's see, how big can you open your mouth? Let's do it. Ah.
ah,
Okay. And now let's do the same thing, only let's not drag it out. Let's just go ah.
ah,
That is fantastic. Now, can you read that whole line again, please?
ba, ka, da,
Fantastic. You're so good. Let's go on to the second line.
fa, ga, ha,
This one is a little bit hard, isn't it? Let's try and think of some words that have that. We could say gap. Can you say gap?
gap,
Gaggle.
gaggle,
Yeah, okay. Now let's just try saying this a few times. Ga, 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 ga. Go ahead.
ga, 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 ga,
So why do we do that, folks? It's because if you're not used to articulating something, it's hard to read, right? If you just get his articulatory system more used to saying it, it's going to be easier for him to read. Okay, that was terrific, Maria. So what I'd like to do is I want to see now if you are good enough to read all 6 of those in a row. What do you think? Can you do it?
yeah,
All right. Yeah, all righty. Go ahead. Show me.
ba, ka,
Great correction.
da, fa, ga, ha.
That was fantastic. Now, what if we change the order? Does that still work for you? What if we went down this time? So what if we did these same 6 words, but now we go down instead of across? Can you still do it? Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, show me.
Ba, fa, ka, ga, da,
Mhm.
ha.
That's terrific. I have to give you a big star. I'm going to go find a big star to give you because every time you see that letter, you remember to say, alrighty. Let's try this row. Can you do that row, please?
Ja,
Yeah.
la, na.
You know what? I'm getting a little bit old and sometimes my ears don't work so well. Can you tell me what you said there?
La.
That is an L. So let's make the sound that L makes. Let's do that together, okay? All righty. So what I want you to do is I want you to look up and lift your tongue and put it behind your front teeth. Right, right in the middle and push.
Ni,
Okay, now
Mm.
say la,
la,
like lap,
lap,
ladder,
ladder,
la, 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 la.
la, 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 la.
Terrific. All righty. Let's do that entire row again, please.
Ja, la, na.
That was terrific. Okay, so here's your challenge. Are you ready for the challenge? Your challenge is to do all of those in reverse order going up from back here. Start here and go up, and let's see if you can still do them, okay? Go ahead.
Ma, ha, da,
Mm-hmm.
l,
La, la, la.
la, ga, ka, ja, tha, da.
You are amazing. That was hard work, wasn't it? Let's take a break and do something else right now, okay? Okay, folks. Any questions?
Did the children have a little bit of trouble distinguishing that G?
No, not typically. That's
Okay.
uniquely a Mario problem.
What happens if when like the last time Mario read it? What happens if the child cannot read or just forgot how to say la?
If he forgot how to say la,
Yeah,
well, he did pause. And so I said la, 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 la to remind him. Because his issue is not in blending. His issue was he didn't know how to articulate that sound and to blend it smoothly, right? So that's why I gave him the sound.
okay.
Yeah.
But if it's like more than one syllable, do we just go through the list again? So that's to see whether we can nail them.
Well, what I was trying to demonstrate was because Mary had some difficulty, then I didn't do the whole list with him, right? He had difficulty, he made 2 mistakes in the first line or 2 falters, let's say, in the first line. So I went back right away and had him practice those, corrected the one that he had the confusion of about the sound, whether the C was making a k or a s, and explained the rule. And then I think maybe there was something on the way you were pronouncing the with the d, right? I think.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And so we went back and explained those. And then I took him back to the beginning and had him read all of those again. So that confirms to me, is he getting what I'm saying? Can he do that? When he can do that reasonably well, then we went to the next line. But you notice that I didn't go right away to the 3rd line because Mario didn't present as a student who was very fluid. And although he could do the task, it wasn't easy for him to do this task, right? So he benefits not at all if I make him read 10 lines of text. What he benefits from is doing the same work over and over until this is all smooth, okay? Because for him, that's what the issue is. It's just not smooth. And who knows? Maybe he's got a speech impediment I wasn't told about. Who knows, right? So then I did the 3rd line because we'd rehearsed the 2nd line a whole bunch. And I just guessed that he could probably be toyed with a little bit and cajoled into doing a bit more. And he did the 3rd line, and that was terrific. But I wanted him to do it again. And so now my challenge is, how do I make this child do it again? And when I talk about you establishing a relationship with your students, this is part of where that relationship comes in, is will they do it for you or not, right? And what I find with kids is you make it a challenge, but a fun challenge, right? You present it in a different way. Oh, come on, you can't read those if you read them from the bottom. Nobody can do that. And then all of a sudden the kids go, oh yeah, you just watch me, I can do that, right? Or if you can't, if they're really reluctant, then you can say, okay, this time, how about you be the teacher and I'll be the student, and you have to find my mistakes. And every time you find my mistake, you get 5 points, okay? And then you read the ones they got wrong or struggled with, get them wrong. You know, he'll correct you. Trust me, he'll correct you, right? They pay hyper attention when they have a chance to be the teacher. It's all about finding ways to make them redo it and redo it and redo it. I mean, you know, every kid we work with plays video games, and one of the ways that I was always successful getting kids to reread was to say, okay, I know this looks like a lot of words, but you can do this. You've got 3 lives to get through this, okay? First level, can you get through the first level? And how much is the first level? They said, I said, the first 2 lines is the first level. Can you do it? And they'd make a mistake and I'd go, oh no, oh, you've lost life. Oh no, I can do it. I can do it. You know what I mean? And they're so engaged because they forget about it being la back has that. They want to beat the level and they don't want me to end up with more points. And there's so many ways to do it, but be fun. Be fun. The work is boring. Let's not pretend reading back has that is fun. It's not. It's boring. So make it fun. So one of the things you should have noticed is that in doing the work with Mario, the progress was very, very different from when I did the work with the student who was at ease with it, right? Melissa, you read the work with almost no difficulty. I think we corrected a bit of pronunciation, but Mario had difficulty. So we got through that whole lesson with you in probably close to the same amount of time that we workshopped 3 lines with Mario. So with Melissa's lesson, next time I meet with Melissa, okay, my meeting plan says that I'm going on to phonics lesson 2, right? I'm going to do review. I'm going to do review. I'm going to review and I'm going to do for fluency. I'm going to have her reread those syllables, get her faster and more accurate of those syllables, but she can read syllables, she can blend. So we're going to go on now to phonics lesson 2 for reading and spelling, and we're going to work on words. Not so for Mario, right? For Mario, I'm going to show him for review I'm also going to put CA in front of him to see if he's going to tell me sa or ca. Does he remember that rule? I'm going to put LA in front of him, and I'm going to put GA in front of him. Those are the ones he had difficulty with. So I want to give him a chance to review them and to correct them before I take him back into the reading. And then for him, the phonics goes right back to that very first lesson. Lesson 1, we are going to then go in and do those first 3 lines, and I'm going to have my fingers crossed that he's better at them. And if he is, then we're going to go to line 4. And he's going to do his best with that. And maybe he gets through it faster and maybe he doesn't. Maybe Mario is one of those children that needs 2 or 3 meetings to get through this lesson. But this lesson is so important because this is how to blend, how to decode, right? It's so, so important. So if it takes some time, it takes some time. Okay. All righty. Any questions about any of this?
I'm just wondering, is it common to come across students who struggle even more than the way I read?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to turn the recorder off. I don't think we need it anymore.
No.